What's going on, everybody? It's your man Cleveland Terry, and today we are going to quickly discuss the newly released Prime Go Plus that's sitting in front of me, and of course the Engine OS update that they just released at the same time. Is this a worthy update to the original Prime Go? And should you update? Let's talk about it. All right, guys. So once again, this is going to be a rather quick video because unfortunately, yes, there is a new Denon Prime Go Plus, but if you guys have recalled the last couple of videos where the Plus has been added, we know that there's not a lot of features that are also added to the board. And on this board, there's really no difference. They have not really made any changes. Obviously, the design cues and the styling found on the original Prime Go is still the same. There has not been any updates to the actual hardware itself, except for one minor thing, which we will also discuss. So the couple of things that we know that we had issues with were, for instance, like the crossfader. Crossfader still acts the same. The faders are still the same. The layout is still the same. Up faders, nothing has changed. And if we move it up to the top here, which we no longer need this power, we can see that there is a omission happening right here. And that is, there used to be a Ethernet, a link right here. Well, they have removed that. Apparently, the reason why they removed it is because nobody was using it. Everybody was using, I guess, it via Wi-Fi. I guess that's what they have found when they interviewed people about it. So there is no Ethernet. Now, you still have access to Ethernet, and that means that you have to go in through the USB media plug here. Now, that is a little bit of an issue because we do know that on the front side, we do have an SD card slot. But if you have been using thumb drives, anything of that nature, well, now you have eliminated one way to get content into your device. Not the end of the world. It is what it is, but that is still a feature missing. I personally never really used the Ethernet port, but it was a nice to have, especially if you're going into a situation where maybe the wireless is just trash, or we run into situations that we have where you try to get onto like a hotel and it's asking you for that secondary pane and we still can't access that. So I did prefer having the Ethernet just in case. Now, it's not there. There is an option, but it's not there. Also, along the lines of things that we've been complaining about that they did not fix, obviously the crossfader was one of them. And the next thing was the microphone ports. Now, there's nothing wrong with the microphone ports, but the microphones are not connected to the hardware. So for all of their future gear, the Mixstream Pro, all of those things, you had a software-based EQ. So that was there. It's a great feature. They don't have that on the Denon Prime Go. The microphone is separate from the software. You won't be able to do a firmware update. It's not possible. You just cannot do EQs on the microphone. And for a person like me, the microphone, especially if you're doing mobile stuff, the microphone is very, very important. And having EQs somewhere on the board is great. Now I'd have to bring an external mixer for it, and if I have something this small and this compact and this powerful, I don't want to have to take another mixer to go along with it. So that is a in all honesty, that is a disappointment to me and the Prime Go. I understand why they want to have feature parity across all their devices, but we're talking about a 4.5 going on 5-year-old product. And typically speaking, we don't see updates for a 5-year-old product that doesn't have any new features. This isn't a Mark II. The only added benefit to this board is the very, very nice colorway here. The silver is great. This reminds me of the Rain 70 A-Track edition. I do love the colorway. And the fact that we now have access to, Amazon Prime music. That's it. Those are your two features for that. Now, if you're an Amazon Prime guy, well, then fantastic. You're going to be very, very happy. But for everybody else out there, that doesn't use Prime, and I'm sure I am definitely not someone that is different than everybody else. I don't think a lot of people use Prime. So if you have a Prime Go, as you can see, it's exactly the same. The only difference found on the devices is that Ethernet port right there. So we're dealing with the same thing. And remember, the thing about the Prime software is that you can always update the Prime software on any engine device. There hasn't really been one, I think, besides maybe the Prime 2, which is completely discontinued, but there hasn't been one update that you have been without. Every single update has come to this board. Now, this board does work with Virtual DJ. It does not work with Serato. It's one of the only ones that they came out with at the time. The same thing with the Denon Prime 2 and this one that don't work with Serato. So if you are a Serato guy, that's going to frustrate you. But if you use Virtual DJ, you're going to be great. Now, moving over, especially because of Virtual DJ, there are some updates to the engine OS. And one of the main updates is lighting. Lighting gave you a lot of new features. Still, they're just quality of life features, but they're there. Like on the auto loops, when you press an auto loop, you can now see the progress bar moving along with the loop, and you have the ability to obviously repeat, but you can now see as it trails completely over to the end and resets itself, you can see exactly where you are within the loop. So that's a great feature right there. And this type of visual feedback stuff is all over the operating system. We're just going to wait for it to finish here. And then you'll see it resets itself. There we go. So do love that. The same thing applies to the static looks where you're getting this visual feedback, just like on the Sound Switch hardware. But the fact that it's here makes it very, very easy. You can go to your overrides and you still have access to all that. And let's see what else we've added on to here. We've increased the auto loop count to 128 auto loops. We've added visual feedback for the active auto loop and auto loop banks, and added the ability to trigger auto loops at any time, overriding scripted tracks. And there's a new auto loop repeat preference. This repeat auto loops mode now is set to infinite or track duration. So you can just have it running or have it changed via the track. So that's a great feature. On the Prime Go and Prime Go Plus, there's now a new slip mode, which I don't think anybody really uses, but that's neither here nor there. Pressing the shift and vinyl buttons. And then there's a smart headphone cue. So the cue can now be automatically switched. When you load a track, it automatically sets the cue point up to that track if you want that. The last thing is there anything else? One more feature. And this can be found on the Prime 4, the Prime Go, the Mixstream Pro, the ST Live 2 and 4, and the Mixstream Pro Go and the Plus. You can now add a Bluetooth speaker. There it is, JBL Charge. In case you were wondering. Okay, so there's your delay. So there's still a delay, obviously. It's Bluetooth. It's a weakness of the technology. But in a pinch, or if you're rocking internally with in-ears and you're not actually focused on the other things, well, then the Bluetooth's going to be a nice little feature for you. And it's just a nice option to have. Before, when the power went out of that one party I had, I remember having to go out of my X5s out of it because there was no Bluetooth option. But now I can. If you're using this as a cocktail speaker, something like that, this is going to be a fantastic little device that you can just set up right next to it and go. So I do love that. Now, that is found on As I said before, all of the newer Prime Go's, the Prime 4, the Prime Go, the SE Live 2, the Mixstream Pro, the Pro Go, and the Pro Plus. So that's a good feature. Now, it's a great feature. It's not a feature specific to the Prime Go. It's a feature specific to all of the engine stuff. So for that, I think it's fantastic. And it's great. It's great. It's great. But you don't necessarily need this Prime Go in order to get those features. You can take any Prime Go, like the one I have right there, the old one. So the software, make sure you update. Very, very important. There's some added features in here that I think are going to be helpful for a lot of people. But the Prime Go itself, unless you absolutely love the colorway of this device, if that is your thing and you want, this nice gray and you don't want to get a wrap or whatever, or yours died and you needed to update it real quick, then that's great. But for anybody that's been waiting for the new Prime Go Mark II, an official Mark II, this is not the device. This is not the device, but still a great device. But to me, it's still missing some things that make me tell people to buy it. If you are absolutely in love and you want a Prime Go, then buy a used one. Pick up one of the black ones. You can probably get them for half the price, and you're going to get everything that this one offers, except for Amazon streaming music, which I don't personally believe that a lot of people are using. So, but everything else you're going to get. All right, guys, that's it for it. It's pretty straightforward. If you found what I said are useful, hit that like button. If you found what I said are really useful, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow me on the Instagrams and the Twitters. Get on my Discord. That's where we're talking about all things Cleveland Terry. Guys, girls, always a pleasure. If I don't talk to you later, we'll talk soon. Peace.